On our planet, there are islands that challenge everything we know about the world. Imagine a place where dolls hanging from trees create a disturbing scene, an overcrowded island that can barely fit its inhabitants, or even a piece of land dominated by cats, where they are the true kings. It doesn't stop there. There are islands where residents must carry gas masks to survive, where a migration of crabs turns the ground into a living red carpet. In this video, you will discover in more detail the 10 strangest, most mysterious, and extraordinary islands on the planet. So, get ready to be amazed. Socotra Island, located in the Indian Ocean, is one of the most unique and fascinating places on the planet. Often called the alien planet of Earth, it stands out for housing life forms that do not exist anywhere else. Imagine walking through an island where the landscapes seem to come straight out of a dream, filled with trees so peculiar in shape that they seem to defy the laws of nature. This is exactly the sensation that Socotra evokes in anyone who visits. The island's main highlight is the iconic dragon's blood tree. Its sturdy trunk and canopy, which spreads out like an upside-down umbrella, make it a true symbol of another world. But what is most striking is the red resin that drips from its bark when cut, resembling real blood. For centuries, locals have used this substance in medicinal treatments and as a dye, while its bizarre appearance attracts scientists and adventurers from around the globe. Additionally, the island is home to equally extraordinary species, such as the desert rose, which seems to have been handcrafted by some surrealist artist. Its twisted roots and trunks form natural sculptures that defy any description. The most surprising thing is that about 1/3 of all species on the island are endemic, meaning you won't find them anywhere else on the planet. This includes not only plants, but also insects and birds, creating such a unique ecosystem that it is recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Just a few kilometers from Mexico City, there is a place that intrigues visitors and sparks curiosity: the Island of the Dolls, an unusual setting where dolls of all shapes and sizes are hung from trees, posts, and scattered throughout the island. At first, it might seem like just an eccentric place, but the story behind it is what truly grabs attention. It all began with Don Julian Santana Barrera, a man who decided to live in isolation on the small island. According to local reports, in the 1950s, Don Julian found the body of a girl who had drowned in one of the canals. Believing that her spirit remained on the island, he began hanging dolls he found nearby as a form of spiritual protection and tribute. To him, the dolls served as a symbol to maintain peace on the island and honor the child's memory. Over the years, Don Julian continued his mission. He collected dolls from rivers, garbage dumps, or received donations from visitors. Each one was carefully placed, transforming the island into something unique and, at the same time, mysterious. Today, walking through the island, it is impossible not to be amazed by the number of dolls and the peculiar atmosphere they create. After Don Julian's death, the island gained worldwide fame and became a tourist destination. Despite its unusual appearance, the place carries an air of tranquility and respect. Many visitors go there to try to understand what motivated Don Julian to dedicate his life to this very specific mission. In Japan, there is a place that seems straight out of a science fiction movie, Miyake-jima Island. Located in the Izu archipelago, the island is home to a unique community, where residents must carry gas masks at all times. Reason? Mount Oyama, an active volcano that constantly releases toxic gases into the atmosphere, turning life on the island into something completely out of the ordinary. The history of Miyake-jima is marked by the power of nature. Since the early 20th century, the volcano has erupted multiple times, forcing evacuations and drastically altering the lives of the inhabitants. The most significant eruption occurred in 2000, when Mount Oyama became intensely active, expelling enormous amounts of sulfur dioxide. The situation was so severe that the entire population had to leave the island for almost 5 years, only returning when conditions became minimally safe. Even with the return, life in Miyake-jima was never the same. Although the eruptions have decreased, the constant release of toxic gases continues. That's why carrying a gas mask is not just a precaution, it's a requirement. Alarms installed throughout the island alert residents if sulfur dioxide levels become dangerously high, and everyone must be prepared to wear their masks at any moment. Despite these adverse conditions, the Miyake-jima community shows impressive resilience. The residents have learned to adapt their lives to the challenging environment, and the island also attracts curious tourists who wish to understand what it's like to live in such an unusual place. Located on the coast of Naples, Italy, Iola Island is a small piece of land surrounded by the crystal-clear waters of the Mediterranean. With its enchanting appearance, it could easily be one of the most desired destinations in the region. However, the island carries a dark reputation that deters visitors and residents. For many, it is known as the Cursed Island, thanks to a long sequence of tragic events that have marked the history of its owners. The origin of Iola Island's mysterious fame dates back to the 19th century, when it began to attract millionaires and influential people. One of the first owners mysteriously passed away after acquiring the island, and this triggered a sequence of episodes that fueled the mystery. Among its owners, there were businessmen who faced financial problems, influential figures who dealt with unexpected difficulties, and families that encountered extraordinary situations. Even Gianni Agnelli, the renowned businessman linked to Fiat, experienced a series of personal setbacks during the period the island was in his possession. These recurring events over the years fueled the idea that the island brings bad luck to everyone who owns it. For the local residents, the stories of misfortune and tragedies are not mere coincidences. Many believe that something truly supernatural is involved with the island. Today, Iola Island is uninhabited, visited only by curious tourists or divers attracted by the surrounding waters. Despite its natural beauty, few have the courage to stay for long, and no one dares to buy it again. Hashima Island, also known as Gunkanjima or Battleship Island, is one of the most fascinating and mysterious places in Japan. Located about 15 kilometers from Nagasaki, it stands out for its impressive appearance, a cluster of concrete buildings that seem to float in the middle of the ocean. Although it seems uninhabited for centuries, Hashima has a rich history that began at the height of Japan's industrialization. In the early 20th century, the island was one of Japan's most important coal mining centers. Mitsubishi purchased the site in 1890, transforming it into a true floating city. Workers and their families moved to the island, which was gradually filled with residential buildings, schools, markets, and even a hospital. Covering about 6 3/10 hectares, Hashima housed over 5,000 people in the 1950s, making it one of the most densely populated places in the world. But what caused the island to become a ghost town? In the 1960s, demand for coal decreased with the rise of oil as an energy source. As a result, mining operations on Hashima ceased, and its inhabitants left in search of new opportunities. In 1974, the island was officially decommissioned and became completely abandoned. Today, the buildings on Hashima remain as they were when the last inhabitants left, but nature has taken over, covering the structures with vegetation and wearing down the buildings. This scene of abandonment has made the island a place of interest for photographers, filmmakers, and tourists. In the South Pacific, there is an island that carries a fascinating mystery and a unique history, Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, as it is called by its local inhabitants. Despite its remote location and modest size, this island is globally known for the hundreds of giant stone statues called moai. These monumental figures, with their imposing faces, have intrigued researchers and visitors for generations. The moai were created by the Rapa Nui people centuries ago, carved directly from volcanic rock, extracted from a quarry called Rano Raraku. What makes these statues so impressive is not only their size. Some reach more than 10 meters and weigh several tons, but the fact that they were transported across the island without modern tools. How was this possible? It's a question that remains unanswered, fueling the fascination with this place. It is believed that the moai represented ancestors or important figures of the community, created to protect and bring prosperity to the island's clans. Interestingly, most of these statues face inward, as if observing the villages and watching over the inhabitants. Furthermore, many originally had eyes made of coral, adding an even more enigmatic detail to their design. Over time, the island's history gained new layers of mystery. It is believed that population growth and intensive exploitation of natural resources led to a crisis that severely impacted Rapa Nui society. Even so, the culture survived, and the island became a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. In the middle of the Indian Ocean, about 1,500 kilometers from the Australian coast, lies Christmas Island, a place small in size but immense in natural phenomena. Despite its tropical beauty, with white sandy beaches, lush forests, and crystal-clear waters, what truly places this island on the global map is a unique spectacle, the annual migration of millions of red crabs. Every year between October and December, an impressive scene takes over the island. Millions of red crabs leave their burrows in the forest and begin a journey toward the ocean ocean to breed. Roads, trails, and even the backyards of homes are completely dominated by these crustaceans, creating a true red carpet in motion. It is such a grand spectacle that even the residents and authorities of the island adapt by closing roads and installing special bridges to ensure the crabs complete their journey safely. This phenomenon is closely linked to the seasonal rains and the phases of the moon, which trigger the migration. The male crabs lead the way, followed by the females, who reach the ocean's shores to lay their eggs. After a few weeks, the young crabs begin their journey back to the forest, creating a second wave of movement that is equally impressive. Christmas Island is considered one of the last refugees in the world, where such a natural event still occurs virtually untouched. In the middle of San Francisco Bay, there is a place that sparks curiosity and fascination: Alcatraz Island. World-renowned for housing one of the most famous maximum security prisons in history, the small piece of land surrounded by cold waters seems to carry with it an air of mystery and stories that intrigue visitors from all over the world. The island's modern history began in the 1930s, and the government transformed it into a federal prison for criminals considered extremely dangerous. The island's natural isolation, with its treacherous currents and distance from the mainland, was seen as perfect for preventing escapes. But despite the strict measures, Alcatraz's fame grew much more due to its daring escape attempts than its impenetrable system. Among the most famous cases is that of 1962, when 3 prisoners carried out a meticulously planned escape. They used improvised tools to make holes in their cells, created papier-mâché heads to deceive the guards, and built a homemade raft with raincoats. At night, they disappeared forever, and to this day, no one knows for sure if they managed to escape, or if the cold waters of the bay were their final destination. This episode became one of the greatest mysteries in American history, and has even inspired films and documentaries. Today, Alcatraz Island is a national park and one of the most visited tourist attractions in the United States. In Japan, there is a charming place that seems straight out of a story for animal lovers: Tashirojima Island, also known as the Cat Island. Located in Miyagi Prefecture, this small island is home to a feline population so large that it outnumbers the human residents. For visitors, the feeling is that they are in a true cat paradise, where these animals roam freely through villages, ports, and even beaches. The history of Tashirojima as a refuge for cats has roots in the island's past. During the period when fishing was the main local economic activity, cats began to be seen as allies by the fishermen. They helped keep rats away from the silk warehouses and fishing nets, protecting the materials and food. Additionally, the fishermen believed that the cats brought luck and prosperity, which further increased the affection and respect for these animals. Over time, the island's human population declined, but the cats continued to thrive. Today, Tashirojima is known as a place where these felines live freely, receiving the attention and care of the local residents and visitors. The cats wander the streets, rest in the sun, or curiously approach those who arrive on the island, creating a peaceful and welcoming atmosphere. In the middle of Lake Victoria in East Africa, there is a small island that defies all expectations: Migingo. Despite its tiny size, smaller than half a football field, the island is considered one of the most densely populated places in the world. A scene of corrugated metal houses, stacked side by side, forming a sort of labyrinth on the water, where hundreds of people share an incredibly limited space. The story of Migingo started modestly. In the 1990s, fishermen discovered the waters around the island, rich in fish such as tilapia and Nile perch, and decided to establish small settlements to exploit fishing. Over time, the region's reputation as one of the best fishing spots in Lake Victoria attracted more and more people. Today, the island is a strategic point for the fishing industry, housing fishermen, traders, and even bars and small shops that serve the busy community. But Migingo is not just fascinating because of its overcrowding. The island is also at the center of a territorial dispute between Kenya and Uganda, as both countries claim ownership. This controversy often causes political tensions, but for the inhabitants, the priority remains work and coexistence, live side by side, indifferent to border disputes, focused on the livelihood provided by fishing. And the video ends here. Please share your thoughts on the 10 strangest islands in the world in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video appearing on your screen now. I'm sure you'll enjoy the content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.